One, we feel like we have to know why, and it's like sometimes the whole point is to teach your body it's safe to have feelings.
Yeah.
And so once it feels safe to have feelings, then you can just feel it. And you can just let it rip because biochemically, you can only feel a feeling for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And so when you continue to trigger it, right,
Yes.
yourself, that you keep feeling it. And it's like
Because I could
the
feel that
practice.
that's what was happening.
Yeah. And the practice is just like letting yourself feel it and being okay. Like, because here's the thing, you're not a bad person because you're thinking about the past and feeling a feeling.
Right.
That's where a lot of us get in trouble is we're like, but I should not do
I
this.
know
But
better.
I'm better than I know better. And it's like, just feel it. Because usually if you just feel it without the analyzation, you chuckle at the end. I mean, really,
Yes.
you just
Yeah.
chuckle at the end because you realize, huh, it's like something's coming for me. And it doesn't have to have a hold. So like, I think that's the first thing.
Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, it's not good enough? Like perfect is the only standard, but you're still left feeling behind? Perfectionism keeps us stuck. It robs us of peace, of our joy, and the freedom to just be. That's why I created Beauty of Imperfection, Good is Enough, a guided workbook to help you let go of the pressure, quiet your inner critic, and start celebrating progress over perfection. Inside, you'll find tools that remind you your worth has never depended on being perfect. It's time to embrace the beauty of imperfection because good really is enough. Let me remind you, you are always worthy. You already are. Get your copy of my workbook today. Emotionally unavailable.
Okay, so I was looking at your Podmatch profile again this morning, and I want to look at it again and see which word it was that made me go, "Oh, soul sisters." Um, I think it was when you were talking about having lived in fight or flight mode, but
Mm.
honestly, everything about your profile made me go, "Man, like personally at least, we have been on the exact same path because that's what I had to learn was I knew because I had learned a little bit about trauma, not enough. I mean, like I had learned, oh, you need to regulate your nervous system, having no idea why the fuck
Yes.
it was dysregulated to begin with. Biophysically,
Sure.
I understood. I didn't understand what was happening when I was being triggered. I could identify, oh, I'm fucking triggered, but didn't know what
Sure.
was being triggered. You know what I mean? Like, how far back do I got to go with this? Like, I was so lost, and really just lost inside of a prison in my own mind because I,
Mm.
like everybody else, until they understand this, intellectualized and analyzed every experience to the death, like nonstop, all day, every day, and then had to learn, like, oh, we have to actually learn how to experience feelings, which was a whole process. So, like, I figured out, like, I had spent my whole life motivated by spite. So I was the golden child. So I
Yeah.
figure like I made all the right choices but all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I'm doing things
Sure.
that I felt like I lived in my purpose always because I'm lucky and have known what my purpose, at least part of it, was since before 5 years old. But so I've always been on this trajectory, but the way I did it, and it was full of hatred for myself and shame of myself and
Mm.
spite to prove people wrong about me.
Mhm.
Anyway, that
Mhm.
was a lot of words. I'm a Gemini. But I was wondering kind of where you started, like, what was your childhood like?
Sure. I'm an Aquarius, so let's
Oh,
just
okay, hey, little air
um, so I'll be honest, my childhood was fairly normal. What I would say is I inherited a lot of intergenerational trauma. So my mom is from the Philippines.
Okay.
I feel like I could just end the sentence there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
So
okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And and she's like fresh off the boat from the Philippines.
Oh,
And she harbored she wouldn't say this, and I love my mom so much, but I would say she harbored a lot of anger that she still doesn't even really know that she
yeah.
has, right? And my dad, was one of 4. He grew up also in poverty, um, and his dad was an orphan, right?
Oh,
And so
mhm.
I just had a lot of people who really wanted to love. I really wanted
Yeah,
to. And 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 that space, like, we're all learning together, right? Like, we're all learning together.
yeah.
And what ended up happening is I got bullied a lot. So I got bullied in like 3rd grade, and I got like by the like the quote unquote popular kids.
Okay.
Um, so I got bullied a lot. That there. And so what I did in that is I started to put on a performance.
Mhm.
So like I illogically, but in my head logically, right, said like, if you act this way, you will get love. If you act this way, people will accept you. If you act this way, you will get whatever, whatever, whatever. So my whole life until my healing journey was really about was performance, was putting on the mask, was like being this version that I knew I didn't want
Mhm.
because I could feel the tightness, right? But I didn't know any other way. And so as a
Nor
result,
were
it
you
was
really
always
connected to the tightness. Like, you didn't really
right.
it was unrelated.
Yeah, it was unrelated. And I would say as a result, I created, like so many of us, this if then narrative. If I reach this pinnacle, this level of success, then I can do
Mhm.
this. Then I can be me. Then I can, if I make this amount of money, then I can do this. If I get this title, because I just kept thinking I have to wear this mask until
Mhm.
I'm in a position where I can just let loose. And as you know, then never comes because we just keep moving the bar.
Yes,
Um,
moving that goalpost.
moving the goalpost. And the thing for me, to your point about being disconnected, is I didn't even know that I was stressed out. Like I didn't
Yeah.
not only was it so normalized in my system, but as a society, it's praised, right?
Abso-fucking-lutely. It sure
Like,
is. Mhm.
yeah, killing yourself, going hard, doing whatever
Look
it
at
takes to
you. You just got it all together.
yeah.
You man, how do you do so much?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
and you're
drink,
so
I numb out,
strong.
I yeah. Yeah. So it was a lot of that, right? And so that's really where my journey was. It's like I work in the wellness health and wellness space because on that piece of it, right, a big piece was like my own body. Like
Mhm.
I never looked like your drive was hate, mine was acceptance. And so what is acceptance? Like you gotta look the part. You gotta,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta do all these
yeah.
things. You gotta, and so um I I I did all of it. I tried all of it. I dieted. I did all the things. And so coming out the other side, realizing that like this is my body when I take care of it. There isn't like some craze, like there's an effort for sure, but it's not like I'm starving. It's not like I'm lifting past the point of what's healthy. Like it is very easy now for me just to be. But girl, it's a journey.
Oh my
It's
god,
a
yes.
journey.
I'm hopefully entering the part of the journey where it's easier to take care of myself.
Yeah,
But, I love that you say your childhood was normal because I think it is really normal to have the experiences that you had, notwithstanding the fact that there were cultural implications. But,
sure.
like, I don't want to minimize that.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned in this work on myself like, yes, I have a crazy story and I can see how from the outside looking in, like it's admirable or whatever the words are that people use. And, I just say crazy that I am here today to
Yeah.
talk about it. But the more obvious to me is when somebody says like, the normal childhood, and they have a hard time saying both. I fucking love my parents. Like they did everything they could for me and they had no idea how to help me walk through really important emotional developmental milestones.
Mhm.
Everyone, how old are you?
39.
Okay. I'm 45. So, nobody your age or my age or older had anyone that understood. No one. So, we were an
Mhm.
entire society walking around telling people, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about, rub some dirt on it, walk it off, or be a big girl, be a big boy, or don't be a baby, all because we're uncomfortable when we can't fix something. It brings up our own shame because we can't be perfect and superhuman and fix whatever's coming up in this person that's crying. Even adults. I mean, like your friends. That I remember feeling incredibly uncomfortable when my friends would cry and be like, you're so strong. I did it all too. I mean, even though I hated it when it was done to me, I did it too because we don't know what we're doing until we get some tools. And I just don't believe the tools really existed before a certain time. I mean, I guess they were there in terms of like the Enlightenment period and shit like that, but like no one in my world had any sort of understanding about emotions or authenticity, any of that. It was very the boomers were really programmed and then programmed the next generation to believe that how you look on the outside is the most important thing. Your appearance, both individually and how you reflect on your family, and
Yeah.
putting other people's comfort above your own should be seen as like sacred. Like that's the way that we have to live our lives. And I don't think that it takes having a crazy childhood to have gotten that programming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One, no, I don't think you have to have a crazy childhood. I call it the purgatory of mundane. That's where most of us live, right?
Yes,
We're just like
yes.
most of us are like, I shouldn't be complaining because I didn't have, your childhood. I shouldn't be complaining because, but like you're just like numbing out.
Yeah.
That being said, I think there's a couple things that I want to underscore on my end is like I understand like as a collective like boomers right didn't but I know them, I actually know them like people in their 60s and 70s who did parent differently, who did do those things. So
That's
I
crazy
think
to
it's
me.
just
I
it's just in the
believe you, but it's,
yeah,
like, unbelievable to me.
it's
I've
in the
not met
minority.
any.
And here's what I would say too, and I know that this has to do with my culture as well, but also my studies is it's like boomers dot 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 in the West because if you
Yeah.
want to check out like
Yes, that makes
Ayurvedic,
perfect sense to me.
Buddhist, like
Yes, exactly. That's
Eastern
why I was like, "Yeah,
cultures,
I
like
know it was out there because there was these principles that have existed beyond the measure of time." But,
thousands
like,
of
why
years.
the fuck did we take so long here to understand any of this? So, yeah, no, that's a
Yeah,
great point because, yeah, from what all the things I've learned in terms of spirituality, especially, that's been
yeah,
around for ever from the beginning. I
ever
get that,
beginning.
but damn it. Like, why did it
Yeah.
take so long for any of us to understand half of this stuff?
To get into that spiritual space, it's like because this is the experience we said we wanted to
I
have.
know it.
Like,
Damn it.
it
I know.
I know I
I kn
know, I
Did
know.
you when you got better, for lack of a better
Mm,
phrase, because 'cause I'm just,
yeah,
apparently being
that's
an elementary schooler this morning,
we're here for it.
did you have that little period of remorse of, like, "If I had had this information sooner," like, I always have to remind myself, like, that was a part of this journey, that was that you wouldn't have gotten the information if you didn't have that part of the journey, like, that was the before, this is the after, but damn, I spent a long time. That's an exaggeration. I spent a minute really like my kids' lives would have been different. I would have been different. Like if we just had this information that to me does not seem very difficult now. I at first when I started practicing stuff it seemed kind of hard, but didn't used to.
Yeah, I mean, I still do at times, right? Like, I don't think you ever fully get over it. What I think is the refractory period is shorter. You're just like, "Oh, but" like,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
I
point.
think that I would love like, if I lived on a hill, like in a mountain, I think I wouldn't have any regrets, but not doing that, not being a cave person, right, not being a monk, unfortunately, I I do. I have those periods where I'm like, "Ooh, you could have done this, or you could have said that," and even, like, in my healed state, right, I still don't talk to my kids the best way that I can. I still don't
Right.
talk to my husband the best way that
Right.
I can. I still don't always think the best thing of strangers, like the guy who was, like, riding my tail I told you about at the beginning. I was like, "If I just pump this brake, bruh, it's on for
Yeah,
you."
yeah.
But it's like, you have those things and the goal is just, like, see it and move through it,
Yeah.
versus hold the regret, and that is a lot easier. It's just these moments I look back and I'm like, "Oh, man, if I would've done this, if I would've done that, if I would have been in a completely different situation," but also, like, I couldn't have handled the different situation. Like,
So true. So tr
I couldn't have
well, I
handled it.
think you know
So,
what you just made me think of by saying that is that, I talk about this a lot because it still feels very profound for me, but I don't know how I decided to like, I couldn't really aside from, like, the normal steps that you take to cultivate self-love and whatever, but you know how, like, paradigm shifts just happen, like, in an aha moment? So my first
yeah.
one where I really felt love, I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
shit, like, that's okay, I get this now." And that was when I also realized this is why I never felt loved by anybody and why I believed that I loved everybody else so much more than they loved me. It's because I didn't have this. I didn't love
Mm,
myself like this first. And this
mm,
is the only, I believe, this is the only real love that exists. Everything else is like chemical responses,
mm.
is the love you
Yeah,
cultivate within and then you share that with others.
yeah.
But that was like a completely aha moment for me. Like, it changed so much for me, and then even just the remorse in that sometimes, like, "Damn, all that time." But it's the same for me of you couldn't receive love then, you wouldn't have been able to hold the information if you got it whenever, before each step
Yeah,
of this journey, so to me, it's all the same, like, it was what I signed
yeah.
up for, like you said, like, that I had to go
Mhm.
through this really profound darkness to feel
Yeah.
such bright light.
I mean, duality is a thing here, right? Like, that's the my mentor, I love how he puts this. He's like, the first part of your spiritual journey is understanding it's all an illusion. And then the second part of your spiritual journey is recognizing that God's in everything. So this is another way to put it is like right recognizing that like you create your own reality and
Mhm,
then also recognizing that nothing's good or bad. But to get to a place where you can even address the fact that duality is not there, you have to work within it. And I think that that's the piece like when we're on this healing journey, we're all trying to rush things, we're all trying to move things through, we're all trying to intellectualize
mhm,
and it's like those simple steps to your point of like, this like I didn't see people doing this is like in the West, we really praise intellect and success over everything else. Whereas what the East has known for so long is like you already know everything and that the
yeah,
things that are around you are the tools, your body included, right? Me working in the wellness space, like your body is also one. And we stay disconnected. We try to stay in our head. And we do that because we live in fight or flight. And that's what
mhm,
biologically, biochemically, we're designed to do. And for me, that's why with this healing journey, it was so important to start to focus on the body instead of just the mind, because really smart people have the hardest time healing themselves
mhm.
because they hope that they can osmosis their learnings from a book. You know what I mean?
Yes, I was just talking about that, and that's something, like, that I've talked to my husband about quite a bit because he is also an Aquarius, and
Mm.
he's always been a student of life, but
Yes, I
the
do. Yeah, I
integration
really do.
piece is really missing there, like, takes in a lot of information, but don't see him integrating the learning a lot, and it's not a judgment, it just
No.
is what it is, like, I recognized it more when I saw that in myself too, the parts that
Mhm.
I had really, like, missed the link between, like, "I learned it, now what do I do?" And before I understood what was being triggered, what these wounds were, whatever, it was really just kind of, relying on that finite amount of self-control and discipline that we get
Yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah.
the first thing in the morning, and mine was gone by, like, 8 o'clock. Because even though I've always been a psycho, yeller, all the things, I was very committed to sending the children off with love in the mornings, and so, like,
Yeah.
hell could bust all open, and I was still gonna be like, "Okay, honey, well, I hope you have a great day." I mean, that was the only time I was, like, really what I would have said was a good mom at that time, like, was just very, like, that was I'm gonna be patient, I'm gonna be loving, but literally, they walk out the door, that was it. The whole fucking rest of the day, I'm at a 10 because I just used it all up. I used it all up and then didn't even know how to, like, get out of from a 10 to, like, a 6 to manage whatever had come up during that. But that's a really good example of all of those things happening and getting me to that level of escalation
Mm.
because it triggered so much shame in me. Like, oh, you a perfect example. Uh, you can't find anything to wear. I'm ashamed because I didn't do enough laundry and I wasn't organized enough to lay it all out and make sure da 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 da. And
Yeah.
then whatever else failings as a parent, I was sure I was, whatever. I can still
Mhm.
do that, but I recognize it now and I just stop the cycle in the middle of it. And I'm like, oh, we're not doing that today. But like that was every day of my life.
Yeah, and I think people have that in, more extreme and less extreme than you, right? I was actually just talking with a client about this. She has she could speak to her she could be kinder to herself, like, we'll say that, right? She could be kinder to herself, and then as she's moving in her or, like, moving down the line, right, and she's working on change, her subconscious is, like, coming out to block a lot of her moves, and so workouts she wants to be doing, not happening, or feeling like they're not happening, conversations she wants to be having with herself, not happening, reflecting on the day, not happening, right? All the like tools, right, that exist. And the issue I think that people run into, just given your example, is they become like, and the Aquarius and the integration, all that stuff is like, right, we become, what we do is we just become really self aware.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, and then that triggers more shame, right? I know better.
That's the word.
I know
That's the
better.
words right
And
there.
so
Yep.
it's where like self-awareness also becomes a crutch. And this is why for me, again, it goes back to like working with the body and the soul is because you can't aware your way out of pain. Like what really has to happen is you've got to get back in. So those tools of like, how do I increase my self-awareness? How do I increase my, or no, sorry, willpower is by being able to stop and say, this is happening to me. Like, what's the feeling that I want to feel instead? Because this is what people do all the time. They talk about like what we're talking about, and then they're like, and I just stop the thought. And it's like, yeah, but how do I stop the cycle? And it's like, you stop the cycle by saying, you become the witness. Oh, I'm doing that thing,
Yeah.
self-awareness. This is where it's really helpful. Then we say, okay, well, I don't want to do that thing. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to act that way. And so then you just reverse engineer. Okay, how do I want to feel? How do I want to think? How do I want to see? And it's like, or like, and what do I want to be doing? I guess, what do I want to be visualizing and what I actually want to carry out? And I share that as a helpful tool because the conversation we're having is like one of like two healed people who are like, dude, we fucking die on the other end and we want to look, and it's like, and it's so cool. And for people listening, it's like the reason why we can laugh and joke that we were like psychopaths and like wanting to
Right.
like break a car, like, like let someone hit us in our car is because what we realize in it is that like just to fuck up their car, right? Is that we realize, oh, I'm doing something that's it not aligned,
Mm-hmm.
misalignment, they would
Mm-hmm.
say, and, like, we don't just stop the cycle by, like, not thinking it. There's, like, a whole process, right? And from a biological standpoint, the reason this matters so much is because you can train the brain to stop sending you thoughts, but you can't do it by thinking more,
Yes. But
right?
damn it, that
Like,
is so counterintuitive. Like it's
I
not
know,
what we think. Like that's
I
not how
know.
you would envision changing your whole life is to actually, uh experience a feeling,
Feel.
like and that's I always have to be very specific and use the language of experience a feeling because I thought I was
Yeah,
feeling plenty of shit before. But
sure.
I was
Yeah,
just thinking, thinking, thinking. This
yeah.
thought keeps coming up, so I'm like, "Okay, I'll talk about it." I don't know why, but it just, but when I was getting ready this morning, and by getting ready, I mean, washing my face a little bit,
Okay.
um, I kept thinking about this lady that I worked with at a school, and, she was a real bitch to everyone, like, everyone. She
Mhm.
was a paraprofessional and older. I mean, at least a boomer, but she may have even been older. But anyway, she was a bitch. I'm not playing with. She was just really not nice to people. She was pretty nice to the kids. Well, sort of. If they were any sort of a behavior issue, bitch. I mean, really. And so it started when she would get pissed because I was working with a girl and one of the things that we did was she would sit with me during lunch to like, for several reasons. I was the fucking school counselor.
Mhm.
I can do that if I want to. Rude. And she'd get pissed and she's like, well, she's worse after she's been with you and blah, blah, blah. Just going off on me like in the cafeteria. Then one day she saw me playing around with a student in the hallway as we were waiting for them to go into the lunch line. She don't know why I'm playing with her. She don't know nothing. And she comes up and screams at me about
Mm.
don't do that and you're being a bad example for kids and blah blah blah, and literally it triggered every little grandmother issue I have because I was raised by my grandma. And I was like, but see, I would freeze or fawn in public. Like I didn't, especially with an elder, like, you know. And
Mhm.
really I was so pissed at myself later for not like at least respectfully standing in my authority instead of just like completely
Right.
freezing. And I kept thinking about her this morning and I was getting really
Mm,
pissed, like really pissed.
mm,
And
yeah.
I was like, okay, at first I did the like, oh, we don't want to do this. And then I was like, because I'm practicing. This is a practice for me of still like not
Yeah.
stopping thinking about something, but
Yeah.
actually processing. And so I was like, God. Okay, Melissa, why are we thinking about her this morning? What is this bringing up? Like, and I was
Mm,
actually having to like
mm,
process it because I still don't know because I then moved on to like be like, can you go get me coffee? But like, I don't, I'm still working very hard on not jumping straight from overthinking to just pretending it didn't happen. Like that middle ground is still where
mm,
I'm really working because
mm,
well, it was such a relief to get to a place where I could shut thoughts off because I didn't used to have that
yeah.
power. And now I do. And it's nice because I'm prone to overthinking during PMS. I have PMDD, it's a whole thing.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole thing.
And
Yeah.
so I oftentimes have to just be like, let's analyze that later because I don't want to be curious right now. I want this to go
I
away. I don't want
know.
to think about why am I thinking about this paraprofessional that I haven't seen in 5 years? She was a bitch. But the theme of self-abandonment had come up and the idea of duality, that how would I handle that now? I would be a rude ass bitch back now in
Yeah.
a professional way, but I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna say that because it's not rude to stand up for yourself, but do you see, like, all that language is still just, like, trying to change it within because it's not rude to
Yeah.
stand up for yourself in a very, like, stern way, but in my
Yes.
head, it would have been, and it would have been disrespectful to my elders and blah, blah, blah. So for whatever reason, it was all there this morning. I don't know why, but I kept like a lot of the stuff you were saying made me think about it. And I was like, fine, I'll fucking talk about it. I don't know why it's coming up, but whatever.
So the one, like, I really hear you. You know what I mean? Like, I really get it. And I was saying this with a client today, and maybe this is why you're bringing it up. Is I think where a lot of us get lost is in the processing. We think we have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to understand it, and we have to replay it, and we have to like. And sometimes you just need to feel it. Like there's who knows? Truly, like no one knows why. Maybe it's for this conversation, right? Like,
Yeah.
but this is where really smart people, really educated people get in trouble, right? There's two things. One, we feel like we have to know why.
Yes.
And it's like sometimes the whole point is to teach your body it's safe to have feelings.
Yeah.
And so once it feels safe to have feelings, then you can just feel it and you can just let it rip because biochemically, you can only feel a feeling for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And so when you continue to trigger it, right,
Yes.
yourself, that you keep feeling it. And it's like
Because I could
the
feel that
practice.
that's what was happening.
Yeah, and the practice is just, like, letting yourself feel it and being okay. Like, because here's the thing, you're not a bad person because you're thinking about the past and feeling a feeling.
Right.
Like, that's where a lot of us get in trouble is we're like, "But I should not do
I
this.
know
But
better.
I'm better than I know better." And it's like, just feel it. Because usually if you just feel it without the analyzation, you chuckle at the end. I mean, really,
Yes.
you just
Yeah.
chuckle at the end because you realize, "Huh, it's like something's coming for me." And I don't like and I don't it doesn't have to have a hold. So, like, I think that's the first thing. And then the second piece, like, what you showed, and I don't know if this is your truth, but it's like, when we stay stuck in that instead of feeling the feeling, when we stay stuck because we're trying to analyze it, we end up often creating an identity we think we have to have.
Yeah.
Here's so, like, the idea of a strong, independent woman or strong woman would be perhaps rude to that person.
Mhm.
And maybe that's exactly what you like, not rude, stand up, speak back,
Right, right, right.
right? And maybe that's exactly what needed to, like, was right. And what I would also offer is that sometimes you don't have to do anything. Here's my example. I got fired on maternity leave.
Ugh.
Like, that's tough, right?
Mhm.
I started to go through the legal process, obviously, right? Of taking this employer to court because I felt right. But as I walked through it, I realized that I was doing that because that's what I thought a strong, independent, like like not self-sufficient because I'm not like I have a
Yeah, I
husband, I
get
have
what
you
you
know what I
mean,
mean?
though. I
But
do, yeah.
like but a strong feminist
Yes,
would
exactly,
do
yeah.
would
Authoritative
drag
over my own
like
life.
yeah,
Mhm.
would drag this, this company down the mud. And what I realized in the process was like, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
Like, and I was only doing it because that was what I had determined in my mind a person should do.
Yeah.
And I don't think it makes me weak by saying, you know, like blessed and blocked. Don't
Yeah.
ever call
No,
me
you're
again.
right. That's
Like,
exactly
and
right.
so I'm just sharing all that because your experience is your experience. And in the healing journey, like Aquarius is, right? Like I could speak to like us heady folks, right? Like our air sign, like it is, we spin and it's like, just feel the feeling. Like
Yes.
when you train your body to feel safe, you don't need the story. You need, like, you just have to feel it. And the story comes out naturally afterward. Uh,
Yeah.
like your little glimpse, your little, and by story, I don't mean like six
You're so
pages. I mean
right.
like
Yeah,
that
I
little
know,
like
yeah.
ping. And like right when
Well,
you
because you
get lost
figure
in
it
the
out
story,
once you hit the feeling spot.
once you get the feeling, and then
Yeah.
when you spin, you're like you're creating an identity, like somehow you're separate from that identity.
Yes.
You are a strong woman, right? So like you don't have to prove it, and like we don't have to go back in time to rewrite the story to prove. You could just say, "Oh, that's what I had to do to survive," and strong people survive.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's
Yeah.
move it on. And so, to me, this is the stuff that's really gets fun in healing because I'm on the other side of healing where most things are fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but for a long time, I was in the trenches where, like, it was just pain.
Yes.
But we healed to hold joy,
Mhm.
and that's where that's where I am, and I feel really fortunate because, like, it I get it, right? And feelings, like, I cried so much, just, like, I went listen, your girl cried for, like, 3 hours, okay? Like, bawling snot, like, I have feelings, and I no longer get lost in them.
Right. Well, because feelings are different than driving yourself crazy by thinking. And it's just funny, like I'm laughing a little bit at myself, not like in an unkind way, but because I
Yeah,
preach nonstop about getting out of your head and into your heart. But it's still tricky for me. That was a very
sure,
sneaky way. Like
mhm,
without you pointing it out, I wouldn't have seen that that's what I was continuing to do is think instead
yeah,
of going, okay, what did it bring up? Like, what is the feeling? Why, like we can feel
yeah,
that and release it rather than trying to analyze any of it. But that is, again, a perfect example of how I say all the time, like, we are building this toolbox that we're going to use
yeah,
forever. Like forever, you're going to need these tools. You may not need them as often eventually,
yeah,
but like they're there for a reason. And so I love that I can live that out in real time. That's
yeah,
really what I try to do is like try not to have ego, learn from the people that I get to like the pleasure of
love it.
having these conversations with and
Yeah,
do better for myself. But you're right. That was me sitting there thinking about, which was completely unnecessary to begin with, to think about that whole thing at all. And I could have done so much more feeling and then just let it go. But I was getting more pissed as I was thinking about it. And
yeah,
you're right. I was saying people who don't self-abandon do this. And
mhm,
it's also okay to do this in this manner, whatever, versus the way I handled it, which I wasn't happy about, which was just to completely freeze. And then, I mean, I did just like walk away, but that,
sure,
like, in my new identity, I would say it's important to me to feel like I advocate for myself and others
yeah,
and that I stay true to the loyalty to myself. But you're right. I can do that in a lot of different ways, and it doesn't have to equate to me, quote unquote, being a bitch?
yeah. My language is, and I learned this from my mentor, is like, what would the love do? Sometimes the love would fight. I mean, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
Yeah.
if you came at my kid,
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, the love would say, "I would beat your ass."
Yep.
Like, "Don't you dare put your hands
The
on my
love would
child,"
say, "I'm gonna
right?
beat your
Like,
ass."
that's what it would say, right? But, like, sometimes the love would say, "Oh, this woman's being really mean, and this is clearly how she is. I'm My job is not to change her. My
Right.
job is to be love and, like, let love show up how it needs to in each circumstance. Like, I'm not gonna ask her to be different.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask myself to be different, and I do that by, like, what would the love do? That's, like, again, that's my language, and I think that this is, like, all of this is really, I guess, like, a highlight that we need people, right? And that's the thing is, like, you were just really close to it.
Yeah.
Like, no shade, you were just really, really close to it, right? This is why coaches exist, this is why therapists exist, this is
Yeah.
why friends exist, right? Because when we're spinning, like, sometimes we need people to pull us out, like
God knows I always need that reminder too. Like, that's
yeah.
I didn't even realize, honestly, I had never framed it this way to myself until I was on someone else's show not that long ago. And
Mhm.
the host didn't say anything that profound. It was just off the not because it wasn't a great interview. God, I'm backpedaling. Anyway, she said, "Yeah, so sounds like you had a lot of protective factors in there or whatever." But I was like, "Yeah, I did." And I didn't realize even I've figured out a lot of the things that I did to push people away. I did not
Yeah,
consider myself avoidant. I absolutely was.
sure.
But I didn't realize not only how many people I have actually pushed away to confirm my little narratives, but also how many little microaggressions committed against myself and others to keep that space
Mhm,
because I was protecting
mhm.
myself. Like, oh, you are so right. I did do like, I mean, I knew in on a certain level because that's why we were having the
Sure.
conversation, but man, the way she framed it, it just, like, hit me right where it needed to because I was like, "Man, I just learned some more." But I love that. I love to continue to, like, deepen these understandings
Yeah,
because that's been the whole journey for me is, like, you learn something, and then you get a deeper understanding of it, and then a deeper
right.
understanding and I love that because then I can continue to be a student of this experience.
Yeah, someone's always a student, someone's always a teacher, and if your conversation is long enough, the roles switch 4 or 5 times and you know what I mean? Like, a and it's I think that that's what's really can be really fun about this human experience, and I think that that's where sometimes, with the regret and it should look this way and all these stories we tell ourselves when we realize it's just actually all God and all perfect,
Mhm.
then that's when we get to start to really choose differently, right?
Yeah.
Like, and grab all the tools, not just the thinking mindset tools, like the body tools, the soul tools, and to me that's really important because I feel like in the West, we've just focused so much, like, and we've just actually kind of doubled down on the brain and the mind,
Mhm.
and we have really lost touch with, like, again, what everyone in the East has already known, like,
And they really
and I think that
have, they really have.
yeah,
I know.
yeah, yeah,
So I wondered, what was the turning point for you? What did that look
mm,
like? Like, was it
yeah, yeah,
a light bulb or you know what I mean? Like, I'm always curious to know, like,
yeah.
what was that part like for you?
So, yeah, I told someone, it's like I got the universal like, I got run over by the universal SUV, and then I got smacked by the universal Mack truck.
Mm.
So, that's kinda like, it was listen, I wish like, I love Byron Katie, she's, like, one of my favorites. I don't know if you know who she is, but
Mm.
she's, an OG in the spiritual space, and she, like, woke up one day and, like, saw gold outlines of things, and I was like, "Oh, if
Yeah,
only,
right, right,
if
right.
only." Instead, what ended up happening was I worked my ass off, realized I hated, like, that I was the problem in all of my jobs. It wasn't the jobs. Like,
Mhm.
in that the jobs were there were issues in the jobs, but, like, when you're the common
What
denominator
yes,
of all of
girl!
it,
I
it might
couldn't
be you.
finish
It
it.
might be you. So, so I got that, and
You were like, "I'm the fucking problem." No.
I'm the problem. T Swift knew.
Mhm.
Um But it was so anyways, so yes, I did that, I went out on my own, and really what I did is I took a 9 to 5, made it a 24/7, and then stressed myself out. And, at this time period, I was like, "Alright, I should probably have a kid because 'cause I'm 35 and, like, 'tis the time." And, then I had a miscarriage.
Mm.
Then I had a miscarriage. And that sucked.
Yeah.
So, so then I had a miscarriage, and that was horrible, and it was, like, not like the not that there's ever a cute miscarriage, but it was a very, it was a messy one. It was a
Yeah.
messy one.
Yeah.
And so that was like, "Well, hold up. Things this is something's wrong." And then I got pregnant a few months later, um, and pregnancy, motherhood, like, shifts you, right? And so, like,
Yeah.
all of my I always say, like, pregnancy is like, um, it'll show you all of your stuff to heal. Like, pregnancy, including the 4th trimester, like, all of your stuff comes up to heal, right? Like, all like, God said, "You wanna break a cycle?" Is that what you said? Here you go. Here's all of the cycles you are are available for you to break. And
Right.
so that happened, and I just got really lost. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So
Yeah.
I got really, 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 really lost. And so what I did is I dived really deep into spirituality. I ended up going back into a 9 to 5, um, and doing that. And at the end of it, right, I started to really do the healing work, really do those things. Um, and then I had the pleasure of getting fired on maternity leave with my second kid. And so when that happened, it was like another big wake up call of like, aren't you gonna walk your talk now? Like, you know
Yeah.
everything. Like, and I really feel that. Like, not that I know everything, but like that I know everything about myself and I have
Right.
all the tools to show up the way that I want to. I really believe that for me, right? And believe that for most people. I think you're fully resourced, right? To like at least get to the next step.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that happened, and it was like, all right, you gonna walk your talk or are you gonna fall back? What are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
And I decided to walk my talk. And it has changed everything. It has changed everything to say, I know what to do. And instead of knowing what to do and just knowing it and telling other people about it and doing it every month or two, I said, every morning, I'm gonna meditate and I did. I meditated every morning, but I mean, like, I'm gonna meditate for an hour. I'm gonna sit my ass down, and we gonna do some things in there, right? Every freaking day I was there. It didn't matter if I got up at 9 AM, it didn't matter if I got up at 6 it didn't matter. It was happening, and I journaled, and and I went to different healers, and I continued to take care of my body in a really big way, and it was just like, I am committed, and every single time I was like, "I don't know, I'm gonna make money, I don't know, I'd be like, "God's got me. It's gonna happen. This fear is not real." Like, it's real right now, but it's not true.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's, like, my journey. Like, so that's what it looked like. It was, like, basically just proving myself, realizing I was a problem, intellectualizing it, and hoping to create enough success to, like, finally deal with it, then having a miscarriage, then getting pregnant, then
Yeah.
getting fired on maternity leave, right? Like, it's been a 5-year I've been on the journey for over a decade, but I would say it's been a concentrated 5 years.
Yeah.
Concentrated
Yeah.
5 years where it was just an opportunity to really to get lost, find myself again, and walk the talk that I had been preaching and learning about because I do feel that on the healing journey, a lot of people start to get the language and then they get myself this is me, right? But I do see it a lot is like we get on this like soapbox.
Yeah.
I'm better than you.
Mhm.
I know it. And then I tell everyone like then we tell everyone about how to heal versus like shutting the fuck up and like going as deep as possible with ourselves until we're at a place where we can show up in situations in a completely different manner than
Right.
once like which we once did. And that doesn't mean you have to keep going into that situation.
Right.
But if your mom's a trigger, showing up and being able to love your mom as she is and then to make the decision of what a boundary needs to look like
Mhm.
that's change. But like I didn't come out on a podcast or showcasing my work again and like restarting a business until I got to that place. Whereas like last time I was, um, and we all do this, like we all teach what we need, but I was like using that as my answer
Mhm.
versus saying like, I am my own medicine. And now I can teach other people how to be their own
Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah. And do you think then to like if you were to just give it a name about walking the talk that you really like created a hygiene for yourself and leaned into the things that you knew to be true?
When you say to create a hygiene, do you mean like, did I
Well, because you
create?
were doing the meditate, like, you had, like,
Yeah.
not some, like, perfected system where you had a schedule that you
Okay.
were doing the shit all day,
Yeah.
but that you were
Yeah.
active in your
Yeah.
own healing
Yes.
and your own learning and growing and evolution.
Yeah. So I had the morning routine, right? Like that's really popular, but I will say it's also like I stand by it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's one of the quote unquote trends. I'd be like, yes, girl, let's do it. But what I did that I think a lot of people don't do, and what I definitely didn't do, is talking about the spinning, right? I, come hell or high water, I was going to feel that feeling.
Yeah.
I I wasn't going to. And listen, sometimes you can't, right? Like there were moments where it was impossible. But in every moment that I could, I would stop myself and I would do the work to process, feel, and like rewire.
Mhm.
And to me, that was so important because all of us, I can guarantee everyone listening to this podcast, they know exactly what to do. You know, there's just no time.
Right.
But there's never like, but if you want to change, you got to change.
Right.
If
Yeah.
you want change, you got to change. And so anytime I was like, I'm broken. I don't know where my money's gonna come from. I was like, are you? Are you actually broke right now? Do you really not have any money? Is it guaranteed that you will not find income by blah 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 blah? Is that true? Okay, then like to Byron Katie, like then who are you when you have that thought? And who would you be without it? So fucking turn this shit around. Turn this boat around. Let's go. And I would do that. I mean, at nauseum.
Yeah.
But at some point, it works. And then you don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to do it anymore. Ever again.
I love it.
Because you've done it. But it's like people don't want to commit that. And to be fair, like a lot of the times we used to get to go off into a cave to do it.
Right, right. Well, but
But we
and
don't
and
get to.
also, you don't always realize that you've gotten
Yeah.
yourself trapped in a little thought spiral right away, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's man, rewiring so many years of trauma for me, like, I'm
Totally.
sure that's gonna take a lifetime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Totally.
yeah, I love all the real life examples that you gave. Before we wrap up, is there, I mean, I feel like you just said it, but if you were to summarize like a key takeaway, like what's one thing or something that our listeners could, I'm just kind of feeling into what to ask you, but I just feel led to ask like what could someone start with
Yeah.
right now to change their life?
So I'm hard pressed to give you a tangent like a one size fits all, but here's what I will say. If you're looking to change your life, you've got to get your body to feel safe. And so your work is to figure out what that step could be. From a biological standpoint, eating breakfast,
Mhm.
right? Doing a somatic workout, um,
Drinking
like
water.
going for drink water, going for a walk, right? Those are like biological body based, right? Those are some things. From if it's mindset, it's like what would make me feel safe? Thinking a different thought, right? Like until I can go into my body, right? It's like, can I think a different thought? Or alternatively, can I do a body mind workout that allows these things to connect, right? Like mm, instead of a somatic, they call it somatic, but it's really like, which is true, but like it could be yoga. It could be anything that can like gets you into your body.
Mhm.
Or you could do something spiritual. If something spiritual makes you feel safe, right? If like holding a crystal, if I don't know, pray. Like if you're Catholic, pray. I don't think the Catholics probably listen to this podcast, but like if you're Catholic, go pray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it's what your work to heal is to make your body feel safe. Because once your body feels safe, you can heal and protect. You can or heal and grow. You cannot protect and heal at the same time.
Ooh, I
It's
love that.
not. It's not like it's biochemically not possible.
Mhm.
And so your work is just to like empty that vessel, move that protection a little down, so that a little more healing can come in. And so I guess that's for me. That's the takeaway. Is like figure out how to start making your body feel safe and do one thing instead of 16 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't take a fully scheduled, structured day or
Uh-uh.
24 hours to make great change in your life. Yeah, start somewhere. Where can we find you?
Oh, yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn and TikTok quite a bit.
Okay.
So if you check out at Erica Ballard _, that's me.
That's you.
You can also email me. Like I'm like very accessible. Erica at ericaballard.co, not com, co. I'll answer any question you have. Like, you get into like the coaching guide space to be helpful, and people feel so weird about asking for help. And I'm like, I didn't get on this podcast to never hear from you.
Right, right,
Like,
right.
so like if you got a question, you want a resource, you're like, what the fuck is a somatic workout? Can you point me to one in the right direction? I can
Reach
and I will.
out.
So reach out.
Awesome. Well, I have
Yeah.
loved meeting you and having this conversation with you truly. And you are a wealth of information and knowledge and
Oh,
wisdom. And I appreciate
thanks.
you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna push stop, but just hang out for 1 sec.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna try to push stop.
Emotionally unavailable.